I'm redoing my video on cut strand weaving on a triangle loom. The one I made a few years ago was on a darker loom, and it was a little hard to see, and also the spacing of the nails was a lot closer because it was a loom that was made for finer yarn. So I'm going to be demonstrating on this 3D printed one that I made. And I made the spacing very similar to my Dewberry Ridge loom so that I could do samples before I put yarn on the big loom. And I think it'll be a little bit easier to see with this loom. The advantage of cut strand weaving is that you can use a whole variety of yarn. Yarn that is a little bit sticky or like mohair, some of the wool is really hard to weave on the continuous strand, the big loom, because it keeps getting hung up and then you have to keep clearing the shed and it gets aggravating. But with cut strand weaving you don't have a lot of that, and it's a little bit easier to deal with art, kind of art yarns and things like that. And then you can just mix it up. You can have 100 different colors all on one loom. And also, if you make a mistake in the weaving, all you have to do is unknot it on the nail that it applies to and just reweave that one section. And so but it does take about twice as long as the continuous strand weaving, because you have to weave every piece of yarn, you have to weave it individually. So with your big loom, pretend like this is your big loom hanging on a stand. What you're going to do is measure the width of your loom plus fringe on either end. Because you're going to have fringe, here's your right angle of your loom. These nails are spaced a little bit closer than these just because of geometry. But you're going to have fringe along this edge and fringe along this edge. So when you're doing cut strand weaving, the fringe is automatic. So you don't have to come back and do it later. And so what I've done here is just what I normally do on my big loom. I'll get a whole bunch of yarn that I want to use cut strand weaving for, and I just hang them off the back of my loom with these little knots here. And I'm going to move them off of this loom because it's going to be hard on this tiny loom for me to leave it like that. I just wanted to show you that I'll have these hanging on the back of my loom, and they're all lined out in the order that I want them to weave. Or you can just do it freehand and just as inspiration strikes, you just knot a couple of strands of yarn and do it as you go. But if you want things mirror imaged, you might want to lay them out to where they're the same on either end. So after you've measured your yarn with the length of fringe that you want, I always add a couple of inches more just so it helps me to tie the knots, and you can come back and trim your fringe later. So I always give myself a generous amount. So depends on if you have enough yarn for your project, but I'm usually using leftover yarn for this type of a project. But all you do is you prepare your first pair ahead of time with an overhand knot, and it's just like you're making a slip knot. You just wind it around your finger till you have an X like that and a loop, and then just pull the tail through, and then you can slide the knot where you want it to land and then tighten it up, tighten that down. So when I'm ready for the first setup one, I make sure that these are in the order that I want. In this case, I'm going to do the light colored one as my first warp and the dark colored one as my second. So this is just the setup. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it or straddle these two over this corner nail. And I'm going to go ahead and weight that down so this knot will stay on that nail. And then I want to bring it across and straddle the other corner nail. Now a lot of people don't even start on this nail, so I like to go ahead and get that established on there. So just kind of pinch where it needs to be tied, and sometimes you may need to adjust this if it's too loose or too tight, but I'm going to go ahead and take it off so that I can tie the knot. It's another overhand knot. I'm just going to pull the tail through. You can tie a square knot on there if you want to, but it's not as, the fringe doesn't look as good in my opinion. So just tie it where you think it needs to go. You can always put it back on the nail to make sure. You don't want it too tight but you don't want it floppy either. So go ahead and put them back on in the order that they go. Now this is a lot longer than I need, but I do like the extra because it's easier to have something to hold on to. So now what we're going to have is fringe coming off of this right angle here, and then this right angle here. So our fringe is going to grow this way across the loom. Alright, so I've got my setup row done, and I probably need a little bit tighter than that, so I'm gonna tighten that up. So all I have to do is loosen that knot and tighten it a little bit. Okay, I've tried to get rid of a lot of the clutter, and then I've found a couple of pieces of felt that maybe you can see these colors a little bit better. The first few that we weave in, it's going to be really hard to see your warp strand. So always make sure you're just kind of separating things out so that you can see all the strands. And as you get the weaving going, all the warp strands are going to start laying like they're supposed to. But for now, just make sure you know where everything is. So I've got my next pair ready to go, and I usually have them hanging on my loom like I want them to do, and I just drag it down to the next available pin down here. So I've got all my prepared warp strands knotted and ready to go. And on the loom, you could hang a weight onto it, a clothespin or whatever. I'm just going to put a little weight here because this knot will try to migrate. As you're working on the big loom, it's easy to forget what's going on down here. And as you're kind of messing around up here, this knot can migrate into the weaving, and you don't want that to happen. So always glance down at the other end, especially before you tie a knot, so that you'll know that this knot is where it needs to be against that pin. Alright, so we've got our setup strands here. These are our first two warp strands going on right here. They need to be laying along these pins, not to the outside. They need to be in the weaving area down here, and we'll have a knot straddled around this corner pin and a knot straddled around that. So I've got them in the order that I want, with the white first and then the blue. So all I've done is dragged my next pair down to the next pin, and you can hold them together if you want to. If you want to, you can go ahead and get the blue one out of the way and hang a weight on it so that you can only concentrate on the first one if you want to. Let's go ahead and do that instead of doing them together, just so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to take the first of these partners here. They're going to always be traveling together, not at the same time, but they're going to be using the same pins. So the first of the pair, I'm going to come around the top of this first available pin and then just hold it like this, just out of the way. So it's going to be just like the continuous strand weaving. We're going to start with an over under. So I come out here where it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go over under, but don't, that's this white that you see there, that's the same strand, so you just ignore that. So I'm going over and under, and that's all I have to do on that first one, is just one little step. So I'm going to just bring it over all the way to the top to the next available pin, and it's gonna lay to the right of it. We're just going to leave it there because its partner needs to come over also. So I'm going to take the partner and come around that same pin over the top of it, and I'm just going to hold it out of the way just like I did the white one. Now as you can see, this white one wants to hide down here, so remember its partner is still down there. We can't ignore it. And also at the beginning here, you really can't see all your strands because they're still wanting to hide underneath each other. So the second strand of the pair that we just brought around this pin, the second one goes under over. So you're going to go under the first warp strand, over, and then come down here and go under its partner. The second strand of the pair always needs to go under its partner. So go ahead and pull it through anywhere. then we can lift it up and bring it over to the pin that it's going to share with its partner. So they're going to straddle here, they're going to straddle here, but they're going to both come over the top of that pin. They're not going to straddle it. At least that's the way I do it. So now that they are in position, I've made sure there's some little twisty thing going on there. That means they've interlocked. And then I'm going to just go ahead and do my overhand knot. And I usually just kind of flip it like that to make an X and a loop. And I bring the tail through. But before I tighten it down, I'm going to make sure this knot hasn't migrated. I've got a loose knot going on here. It's not where I want it to be, and it's a little hard with your fingers to get it way up in there next to the pin that it needs to go to. So I'll use a knitting needle or a weaving needle or something, and I'll just bring it up tight against that pin, and then I can tighten the knot down. So I've got my second set of fringe going on this side. So you can trim it or you can wait till later. Again, I like to have a generous amount. I don't want to be trying to tie knots with really short strands of yarn. So if you've got plenty of yarn, go ahead and give yourself a generous amount. So I've got fringe starting to grow over here and fringe starting to grow over here on this side. So let's do another one. I think I still have a few that are ready to go. All right. So I'm going to put the next pair around the next available pin at the bottom. And then I'm going to bring them together over the top of the next available pin here, and I'm just going to hold them together just to make it easier. And then you're controlling things at the big loom a lot better. I'm always glancing down at the bottom. Obviously on a big loom it's going to be a lot farther down. So I'm just going to concentrate on the white one. I'm just going to pretend like the blue one is not even there. Okay, so I'm going to go over, under, over, under. So you don't want to grab this white one here because that's the same one that you're pulling on. Then bring it over to the next available nail to the right of it. Now we're going to go under, over, under, over, and now we're going to go under its partner. Remember, we always have to finish up under its partner. And then we're going to pull that blue one through, then we're going to position it to the left of the nail with its partner and go ahead and tie a knot here. Before you tie a knot, check and make sure your knot down here has not migrated, and go ahead and tie your knot. I'm going to get a few more strands on here so that you'll be able to see a little bit easier. You can already tell that my warp is starting to behave itself and things are kind of starting to land or lay in the order that they go, and you can see a whole lot better. But the first few pegs that you start, you need to really be paying attention to your warp strands. Alright, I'm ready to show because I've gotten a little bit of weaving on here. I'm going to go ahead and anchor my pair here. I'm bringing them up and over the top of the next available pin, and I'm just going to ignore the blue. I'm making sure my knot is not migrating down there. I'm going over the first warp strand. You see, everything is really lining out and laying and behaving itself, so you can clearly see all of your warp strands. So over, under, and making sure that I ignore the white one that is on that pin, because you don't want to go under itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that white one now and pull it down to the pin that it goes to. And I'm checking again my pin at the bottom. I check, 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 check. Keep going. So I'm going to go under, over. My stomach is growling. So be sure you grab its partner, go under its partner on the last pin, check before you pull it through. And then I'm ready to tie a knot. Now as far as finishing on this particular technique, I find this top edge is really stretchy. It is with the continuous strand weaving also, but I think it's a lot stretchier with this cut strand weaving if you don't finish the top edge. And it could work to your advantage depending on what you want your shawl to look like. So if I finished weaving, and if I pulled everything off the loom, and I've tested this before, so I know the way it does, this edge is really going to loosen up, and it can kind of make this kind of a bowed look. And it really makes a nice shawl collar if you leave it stretchy like that. But if you want it to stay pretty firm on the edge, you're going to have to finish it like you do with a pot holder loom. It's a little bit more difficult because we've got these little twisty things going on. You can kind of manipulate these to where they're easier to grab if you wanted to. You can kind of do that and then start crocheting them together like you do on the pot holder loom or on the continuous strand weaving. I'm not going to show it because it's just going to be really difficult on this little tiny loom, but you get the idea. You can also crochet in a separate strand of yarn and just do some slip crochet stitches all the way across. So go and look up some videos. There's a lot of them on there showing how to finish the top edge of your shawl. Do a practice if you have a little small triangle loom. Do a practice of this to see how you want the top edge to look. And but the main thing I wanted to show in this video was how to do the weaving itself. And this is my method of doing it. I've seen a lot of other videos. It's really hard to demonstrate on a really large loom, so I really like my little sampler loom. And so as you can see, your fringe starts growing along this side, and it starts growing along this side until this one ends up on the last nail. And then you'll be ready to take it off the loom.